Hey guys, today is August the 6th of 2022, and I wanted to go over the markets I'm following using my simple glance chart. So without any further delay, let's get into it. As of right now, we're going to start off with the dollar. The dollar, if you look at the weekly, we got a MACD crossover, and it hasn't turned positive yet. We got 4 weekly bars in negative. Just a normal retracement. It's all positive above the 20, the 50, the 200. You can see the cloud is still positive. Linear regression channels are pointing up. I have a target of 113. See this blue line right here? That's a trend line going all the way to the top. And then there's a 113 that I'm watching somewhere around right here, that if it could get above there, there's a R3 monthly pivot lined up there also. You can see the point of control is that 103 value area high is that 108. If you look at the daily chart, you can see that we've just been going down. This level right here of 105 is a strong level. We kind of bounced off it right there. And we're still in the MOBO, which is still kind of chop fest. The 20s above. And you got the point of control on the 20, which is 105. So the battle is going on right there. If we could get above and close above the 20 and retest and close above 107, chances are we're going to retest that high. So it just has to be a steady, high and low going up. And if we could get to retest that high and push higher, 113 is going to be it for me. And if it goes higher, then we'll, do more calculations. But you can see right here in the MACD, it turned positive. Let's go figure if I did the dollar. Let's go to the euro. As you know, euro's inverse. If we're going to hit 113, I'm suspecting that maybe we could hit this S2 monthly pivot. Maybe you could say 969 maybe as a target to the downside, but that remains to be seen. But you can see that on the weekly it's just been going sideways, and on the daily you can just see that this whole area has just been chop fest. A lot of fake outs, and it's just still undecided what it's going to do, and that's all because of the dollar. Although you got a nice little positive MACD crossover, but still very, very in the negative. Maybe it could be basing here, but we'll see. I wouldn't trade it. I would just wait. Let's go to we'll start off with Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a nice little crossover in the MACD right here, and volume hasn't been great last week, but you can see that the Hekinashis have changed already, but still in a negative price level. You can see that the it's hovering now around the 200 SMA. Value area low is that 2900. Linear regressions are pointing down, so it's very, midterm, very bearish, but kind of basing and showing some life here. On the daily, you can see that it's just kind of making higher highs and higher lows. So it's just slowly grinding. The linear regression channel is like pointing side to up. You're about to get in the cloud. Keep in mind this level right here, that 2500. That's going to be some resistance. And you're battling now the 50 SMA. So that's going to be interesting for next week if we could get inside the cloud. If we go to Ethereum, Ethereum is already in the cloud. Once you're in the cloud, it gets a little more wild and volatile. So expect that. You can see that now there's a little base somewhere around here. Trying to think of what that level is. 1481, or kind of a level. Resistance would be this 1980 and all the way to 26, but that's far. Value area high is 1923, so that could be a target. Also, this is at 1978. So this little area right here is going to be interesting once if it gets up there. Well, the volatility may stall out and pull back, and then maybe continue going higher. What's the good thing is that on Ethereum, you got already positive mobile on the weekly, although value area low, which is this level 1743, is looking like it's like resistance. Once we could close above 1743, then you can see right here that point of control, which is at 2948, lines up with the cloud. So this whole area right here is going to be the target and where the next level of the battle is going to be. Also with this linear regression channel right here. So that's that for that. Let's go to, I'll start over here, UEC. The weeklies look good. MACD positive. PPS buy signal on the weekly. Look at the mobiles, good. Candle trend, color looking good. This level right here, 424, some kind of resistance level. Just got to keep an eye on. We could get to close above that and find support. Then it could probably bounce higher. This is the level you want to keep an eye on. Linear regression channel right here. Value area high is at 483, so keep an eye on that. If we ever get up there, it could probably stall also. And on the daily, you can see that we are in the cloud. You can see how wild it's getting. And if it pulls back, you got 392 as support and also 383 as support using the cloud, which coincides with the value area high, which is at 389. So this is going to be, this area right here is all going to be support if it pulls back next week or anytime soon. Maybe to bounce up and get out of the cloud, and you're already above the cloud on the weekly, so that's positive. DNN, kind of the same thing. You got 115 as support in there. Value area high is that 118. Point of control is at 113, so it's just a little more choppy here. And on the weekly, this last week's candle started looking positive, and it looks like there was earnings also here. Point of control is at 120. If we could get to push higher, excuse me, you got that 126 that looks like it's going to be a level of resistance, and also the 50, 139, and then this is the big kahuna right here, this level right here, 153, which the value area high here. So this, if we get up here, this is where we're gonna, it has to really fight, bounce up, find support, and then shoot higher to test that 183. Once we test that 183 and push higher, then the trend is going to go even higher. But, you know, it looks like it may want to fight and test this and even test that 183, test that high. CCJ, you can see that this is going to be support 23. I got my stop somewhere around 23, 23.92. My stop is around 23. Everything is looking positive. MACD's positive. Is trending higher, which is good. Where's going to be the resistance? The 26.98. Value area high. You're going to have this linear regression channel. Is going to be a battle. So it looks like it may want to test this, maybe stall, pull back. It's going to deal with the linear regression channel, and it may want to retest that 32.49. I'll give you a little more insight on this one. I think this was probably going to trend higher to September, and maybe September, wherever it's at, is going to probably stall maybe like that first week, and then maybe pull back. So that's kind of what I'm seeing with the cycles and other things I'm looking at, so I'm giving you a heads up. But it's looking good. Looking at the daily chart, this level right here, 26.29 is going to be the level to fight. And we're getting very close, and we're about to like get out of the cloud, so it's good. So once we close above that level, push higher, it's a matter of testing, 28 and go test the high of April the 13th. Hive is looking also good. Mobile bands is positive. The weekly candle, Hikanashi is positive, is trending. What we have of resistance, well, we're going to have the 200 SMA, the 20 value area high. If it's like an ultimate target, would be the 961. And everything is looking good. MACD is positive. The last 3 weeks of volume have been great on Hive. On the daily, we were in the clouds, so expect volatility, expect some wild, wonky moves. The cloud is starting to turn positive. Linear regression channels are pointing up, so that's good. As support would be that 466, 446 as a point of control, value area high. And you can see that this level somewhat right here could be a level to keep an eye on, which is at 610. But so far it's looking good. The key is making higher highs and higher lows. So if it pulls back, it needs to find support there and then just kind of keep going like that, zigzagging, going higher. SMR, I've been put it on a list, so some people are following it. I wouldn't buy it here, even though it's pushing even higher. I would just kind of let it do its thing. You can see that on the daily. It's already just had a crossover. A PPS sell signal just built in. But it's trending, you see, but it's already giving you heads up something's, getting a little weaker. So I would wait. If I wanted to trade this thing, I would wait for it to pull back. 1236 would be a good entry. Not that much info here, even this level, pull back, maybe the 20, everything is so far has been, this kind of move has been the fear of missing out. So everybody's piling in, but when you do these big moves like that, it could really pull back really hard and crash down. And it could just maybe set up for an a 1, 2, 3 impulse up, but it all depends. But I wouldn't be buying it, especially now with this PPS, because now it's going to pull back and maybe going to then go up and retest that high. So if you want to get in, just wait for it to come in, buy it, and then let it go up and retest the high and see what it's going to do. And if it's going to push higher, then you're already in, but you're already in somewhere around here in this area, not, buying it, here and then feel the pain when it comes down. That's my opinion, especially here in the linear regression channel, the weekly, you're overextended. So if you're buying here and then they sell it on you, you're going to feel the pain. You rather get in here, you're better place to get in here if it pulls back, or even in the midpoint. So these are the little key levels you want to get in. That way when it comes down and then it goes up and tests that, and if it's strong, it's going to push higher, then you're in here and then you just trail your stop up. AppHarvest. I got this trend line from the $7, which is the resistance level that we've been having. I'm still long. What I don't like is that we have a MACD crossover. Volume has been very negative. They report it, and you can see that hasn't really done much. It's just been kind of going sideways. You can see it on the daily. But still positive, but just kind of going sideways. You can see that the point of control is at 407. So it's just been hovering around the point of control. Value area high is 484. And we kissed that up here on the weekly and then just kind of pulled back. So there could probably be some weakness here. The MACD is showing it. And if it pulls back, maybe it could find some support here or maybe on this trend line that I have it anchored from this low. So that's what I see there. On a daily, the support will be the 361 area right here. Anywhere around here could be some support if it pulls back. And you can see that it's kind of just dancing around there. A good thing is that on the daily, it's out of the cloud. And the cloud is positive. Linear regression channels are pointing up. So any of these levels right here, this is like the last line right here, could be support. If it pulls back, but it needs to bounce right back up. If it closes here and then bounces, fails and pushes lower, then we're back to, just going sideways to lower and not really a lot of energy and Momo to push up. This is where it has to prove itself now. Now that it's here above the cloud, this is where it needs to now push and test this level right here, and then even go higher. So we got to make another leg up to show that the bulls are in control. If we can't do that, then this is going to push even lower, and then find somewhere some support even over here with this value area low 268. Okay, here we got crude. I want to show you this is a good entry level. Just got to wait for the price action to confirm it, but once you hit the bottom of a linear regression channel, chances are it could probably bounce, but you got to deal with that level, which is 96. And it's, you know, around the battling the 50, but the MACD is negative. Last week volume was very negative. Friday was the best volume. Well, not the best, but it was green. And it hit 87 as a low target. So you're below the 50. I mean the 200, the 50, well, the 100, the 20. You're below the cloud. The cycles are, I think, negative on the weekly. I got to look at them, but from what I remember last time, linear regression channel is pointing down, so that's negative on the weekly. So short term bearish, weekly, midterm, bearish, but kind of, just in barely holding some key levels, value area low, and looks like it's about to like fall off the cloud on the weekly. So that's that on crude. GC gold. I'm playing gold on the seasonal pattern. The low somewhere around the July the 20th so far has been playing out. We got these last 2 weeks. Weekly candles of Hikanashi positive, even though it's red. So the trend is still down. So you have to be cautious. Trail your stops. Right now, this level right here of 1796, strong level of resistance. You got the value area low right there, which is that green line. Then the next level will be this level right here, 1818. And then the big strong level is this one right here, which is at 1878. So if it's going to trend, I could see it, pulling back, whatever, and then somewhere around here stalling or just having a really bad time. Point of control also is right here, which is at 1854. So this whole area right here is going to be a tough area to fight. On top of that, linear regression is pointing down. So you got the cluster of, the 50, the 100, and the 20 all right here. So it's going to be a tough battle. If the seasonality is going to play out, it's going to have to fight through all this and see what happens once we get to September. But on the daily, you can see this nice little move up. Support will be that 1776, and even this level right here, 1780, if it pulls back. You're chopping around the 50 SMA on the daily. Linear regression channel is pointing down, and you're still below the cloud. So short term is still, still bearish, even though we got this nice, upward move, hitting some stops or whatnot. But like I always said, never get too comfy and cozy. Sometimes these things, could go against you. So if you trail your stop, you're at least locking in some profits. Since I did GC, might as well do silver. It is the same thing. As you can see, though, that silver, failed at the 50 SMA. You can see that this $20 level is really strong, and it's fighting there, and you just had a MACD crossover. Friday's volume was very negative. Last week's volume was not, it was negative, but the weekly is kind of positive. So I'm just kind of seeing that maybe it's going to get a little bounce, but it's probably going to fail, or, either just go sideways, to lower. Just got to see where the seasonalities are going to be telling us here. But I was expecting a bounce, but let's see how strong this bounce is going to be. Let's see. Copper, same thing. It looks the same thing as silver, although it didn't get to the 50, just kind of hovering around the value area low. And it looks like it wants to do another leg up. It looks like there's a crossover in the MACD right here. Friday's volume was pretty strong. And it's like a little bounce expected, bouncing off the 200 on the weekly. Natural gas, looks like we got a double top right here, and it pulled back. Even though everything, last week's volume was very negative. You can see that right here. It's back in the mobile, so this is going to be like chop fest. It's still, undecided. And on the daily, you could clearly see a double top. And even though it trapped some bulls because it thought it was going to go higher, it squeezed them all out, hit some stops. But the good thing is that it's above the cloud. There's key levels to keep an eye on here. 1753, kind of just going sideways in the midpoint of the linear regression channel going up. So we'll see how that's going to play out. Let's see. That's copper, silver. I think I covered it all. I haven't. Oh, Intel. This is one of the stocks I've been watching. And Intel, the weekly cycles are bottoming out. I've just been seeing like, man, I know this stock has been getting hammered and hammered. They've been missing on a lot of trends and everything. And I mean, even AMD has been beating them. But what, got my attention on this is that I was reading some articles in regards to semiconductors, and there's 3 semiconductors here in the U.S., which is Texas Instrument, Global Foundries, and Intel. And Intel is the worst one out of the ones I've mentioned. And there's other companies I'm sure, that are working on building their own chips and stuff like that. But Intel was the one that kind of got my attention, and noticing that the weekly cycle has been bottoming out. And then I was going to start turning up and looking at price action, just flushing and pushing lower. Made me think that maybe it might be a good opportunity to get into Intel and just kind of build a position. But I have to look at other things, just not because one cycle. I'm more the type of trader. I like to see like a cluster of things lining up. I think that's what Gann will look at. Not just one indicator, one thing. He kind of times a lot of things all together. And if everything is lining up, then the probabilities of a change in trend are greater. So with that being said, keep your eyes on Intel in the next couple of months and see, in regards to news or whatever, if China invades Taiwan and we'll have more issues with chips and all that, maybe Intel may come in and step it up and start, producing things, that are better quality, or step up their game. Because, this is just me speculating. China, their desire is to take over Taiwan. And if they do, they're going to have, Taiwan, they say, is the place where they make the best chips, semiconductors. So if we lose that, then we got to build the ones that we have here. So I'm just kind of speculating maybe Intel, all of that stuff could line up, and it's all going to be that kind of news circulating. Well, these are the companies we have here, and maybe money or funds could come in there. So this is kind of like what's, brewing in my mind with Intel. But what sparked it was, it's like, man, it's just so oversold, and it's just, just pushing even lower, like how low is it going to go? And then that's where I started, looking, just kind of building a bullish case for it while everybody hates it. You could kind of say it's more like a contrarian play. But I just can't be like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy and it's going to turn. I have to see some things lining up that, you know, that the turn is coming. And one was the weekly cycle. It's like the 300 and something cycle that kind of looks like this. If I show it to you, it's just kind of bottoming out and it's going up. So if it's doing that, chances are it could capitulate and maybe push even lower and then bounce. Or while the cycle is going, you know, going up, it could just kind of just go sideways to lower and just kind of sideways and just kind of base and then eventually go up. So that's like the waiting game. You can see that some of the weekly patterns, it looks like it's going to go up and then it pushes lower. But there's going to be a point where it's just going to go, you know, this is just speculation, where it's just going to go like this and then bounce, just kind of go sideways and then just start going this, you know. And you want to kind of see that happening with the big picture of the big cycle going up. If you kind of see that, and it just kind of goes sideways, or sometimes it, you know, whatever happens in the world and it just starts spiking up, then that's when you just can't hesitate. You just have to like, okay, all these are the things I've been looking at are lining up. I'm gonna get in and not just put, you know, all your eggs in one basket. Just kind of build a position and just see what happens. So those are my thoughts on Intel. Hopefully you like this video, and I'll keep you posted on my thoughts on the markets that I follow.